What's up, everybody? This is Jay Nanda, San Antonio Metal Music Examiner, here on a very special day aboard the second annual 70,000 Tons of Metal Cruise aboard Royal Caribbean's Majesty of the Seas, and we are here with the incredible New York / San Antonio band Riot. Say hello to Bobby Jarzombic from San Antonio on drums, Don Van Stavern on bass, Mike Flynn on guitar, and of course vocalist Tony Moore. Guys, how you doing today?
Oh yeah, doing great, man.
Thanks so much for taking the time to do this. It's an absolute pleasure to have you guys here. For those of you who don't know, Riot is here on board, just opened their tour about a week ago, I think, last Wednesday in New York.
Yep.
And as you know, from if you're a fan of theirs or if you're just familiar with the band, there is a very important piece missing, so I'll get that out of the way right off the bat. Founder and guitarist Mark Reale is currently in a San Antonio hospital. It couldn't make the tour, obviously. The band decided to carry on, play shows, and while he's recuperating in San Antonio, give the fans out there, whoever wants to, an update on his condition and the whole thought process with once you got the call to be on the cruise. Obviously, you thought all 5 of you were going to be here. Just the whole line of thinking and how that all went down.
Well, we were really surprised because Mark had been he's been battling Crohn's disease his entire adult life, and some complications from his treatment. He was admitted to the hospital. We expected that he was going to be well enough to perform, even just a couple weeks prior to the shows. He took a really bad turn in the hospital and ended up in critical condition. And we spoke with his dad, and we spoke with close friends and members of the family, and they all urged us to carry on with the shows. We were not initially. We said we can't go out without Mark, but after speaking with people close to him, everyone said, no, you have to do it. You have to do it for him. This music has been his life's blood for 30 plus years, and lots of people are coming out to hear it, so we're carrying on. Yeah. We get updates daily on his condition. He's still in pretty tough shape, but we're hoping to hear some good news.
Absolutely. And Tony, I know for you, you just had vocal surgery a few months ago, I believe.
It wasn't actually vocal surgery,
okay.
Thank God. No, what happened was I went to a routine dental exam. They discovered like a huge section of bone in my jaw that had to be removed. And they had to do a bone graft. And the recuperation time is actually like 4 months, and this was right before I was supposed to start practicing for a European tour. And we were going to push it by a few weeks. My doctor said, all right, maybe you can do like the back half of this tour, but if anything disturbs this bone graft, you're going to wake up in a European hospital with a mouthful of blood. Right. So maybe you should think twice about this. So we're going to do the back half of the tour, like 10 shows instead of 20. But it just logistically, it was too difficult with Hammerfall and all the stuff that had to happen in Europe. And so we were very upset about it, but we had to cancel the whole works.
Well, at the time we're doing. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bobby.
I was just going to say, let's see the results.
If you look,
go ahead.
I'm still missing a tooth because it takes a long time for then they had to do implant surgery on top of it. So I just have this, like metal screw in my jaw now that it's healed, and eventually they'll put the tooth back in.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a long process.
Wow. Tony Moore had implants, okay?
Wrap your head right around that.
From the waist down.
Well, give me your guys' impression on this cruise. Have you been to on a cruise in general in your lifetime? Obviously, this must be
I've been on a cruise about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience.
But the rest of you have never been on a ship until now?
No.
Never been
really?
on one.
Never.
And at the time, just to let you people out there know, at the time we're doing this, in about, 6-7 hours, Riot is going on stage for the first time on the ship to perform. Each band, there's 42 bands here, and they each perform twice. Once on the way to the Cayman Islands like we're doing right now, and once on the way back from the Cayman Islands to Miami. So Riot, I cannot wait to see you guys tonight in the Spectrum Lounge here later tonight. And as I was telling Bobby and Don the other night, you guys have done an incredible job with Immortal Soul. If you're out there, go pick it up. It's their latest album, came out November 22nd in the States. About a month earlier, it came out in other parts of the world. Just for those who will harken back to the Thundersteel days and the Privilege of Power days, obviously it was you guys that did that, and it's like some of your strongest work. Tell me a little bit about the process for Immortal Soul. Like, what was as the songs were being crafted, the sound. I know, Tony, I had read a comment or seen a video of you saying that a few years ago you couldn't even imagine a new Riot album coming out. So
No, of course.
you guys must be very proud of this. Tell me about the whole process.
Well, the process, in some ways, it was very similar to Privileged Power, of course, because of the advances in technology. In a lot of ways, it was very different. In terms of the writing, same formula. These guys wrote, just some absolutely hellacious licks, and grooves, and
Yeah, it was like Mark, myself, and Don each throwing about 5 or 6 songs each.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We're
think
playing them all.
it was cool because initially, excuse me, Mark came down to San Antonio and me and Don and him got together and we put together like a first batch of songs, and Mike came in and added a couple, and we had a lot of stuff, pretty strong songs, and we all kind of collaborated a little bit as far as arrangements and putting little things here and there, kind of like crafting the songs. And then we took a little bit of a break, and then Don came up with a couple of other things, and then Mike came up with a few other things, and it just, we knew what we needed to do as far as like putting this record together, the type of songs, the Riot sound.
Right.
And I think, it definitely speaks for itself as far as like being that Thunder Steel sort of thing, because that's what the fans want, and that's what we're known for, and that's what we do best. So it was, I would say that the whole thing was 20% all of us,
yeah, it
Just-
really was just a perfect collaboration.
Yeah.
And in fact, we did it in like, how many? It was like 5 different studios between your home studios and the studio in LA and in Millbrook. None of us were, all 5 of us, in a room at the same time.
Yeah.
Some of the initial basics. These 4 guys were, with Mark, of course, were together up in Millbrook, New York, a terrific studio up there. And as soon as we all became like comfortable with the way the stuff was developing, the way the sound was happening, and when soon songs were totally arranged, these guys would send me MP3s, and I would start writing lyrics and melodies and vocal arrangements. And Mike contributed some melodies when I got stuck. I wrote the lyrics. I must have written every song like at least 3 times and threw stuff out constantly before I found something I was happy with. I did some vocal sessions in New York with Mike and Bruno Ravel, our engineer, who's bass player for Danger Danger, and he did an amazing job because we were sending this guy audio files from all our different studios. I did some in New York, I did a whole bunch in LA, and we were just like posting all this stuff to Bobby's FTP site, and Bruno would be downloading all the files and trying to do all this Pro Tools work to make it sound like a coherent album. It was an incredible challenge for him. But I think
Bruno played such a huge part
Yeah.
of making of this record, and he's responsible for the ultimate sound of the whole record.
Yeah. Which I think is the best sounding of the 3 that we did.
Yeah.
Between Thunder Steel, Privileged Power, and Immortal Soul, this record, this is the sound we were after.
Yeah. As far as, like I said, each band is playing 2 sets. Is when you guys broke down the set list for this cruise. Was it
We're still
difficult?
doing it.
You're still doing it?
Haven't really done that yet.
Really?
After this interview, we will do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would like to know what I have to go practice.
For the little mini tour, the warm-up, we had like a 90-minute set, so we're basically, you should have half it.
Yeah.
So, and it's, with this 30-year career, plus whatever, and a million albums, like, what do you play?
It's really tough.
We like to
Yes.
focus on, this lineup strongly, but we have to always have the staples, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
I think we're
classic
going to do
stuff, so.
2 different sets.
Yeah.
There might be 5 songs that we do in both sets, and maybe the other 4 or 5 will
rotate.
Sure. Okay, cool.
We're going to figure that out.
Yeah.
Well, I've been wondering about you guys lately. Do you still consider yourself? You were always a New York band. Do you starting to consider yourself a San Antonio band at all? With not just because there's 2 members from there, but because you have been rehearsing there. Sometimes you do activities there, or is it just kind of split down the middle right now?
I don't know what we would consider ourselves
I never
anymore.
even-
I live in LA,
Okay.
LA, New York, Texas.
We rehearsed
Yeah.
in New York for this at my studio.
Okay. So a little bit all over the place.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I
Cool.
wouldn't, at this point, we really couldn't call ourselves.
It's because Mark, when he started
anywhere,
the band you know, in New York many years
Right.
ago. But when he played San Antonio, he like fell in love with the town. That's
Yeah.
why a lot of people thought he was
Right.
from there.
Right.
And the whole connection with me and Bobby and him.
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of that vibe. He likes to spend 50% of his time here. Actually, this year probably more like 80% of his time. You know,
Cool.
that's when all that misfortunate
Right.
happening started occurring.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and of course, obviously, after the cruise, I would imagine everything revolves around his health and his well-being. But as far as tour plans, are you guys going to expand on tour dates? And the obvious question is, will there be a chance for you guys to come back to San Antonio at all? I know you were there at Scout Bar in 2009. We talked about any chance of that happening.
It would definitely be nice, you know. I mean, I think right now everybody, you know, is looking to see what's happening with Mark, and of course we would definitely be there with him in San Antonio if we were home. You know, it was hard because right when things got bad for him, we were in New York, and
Sure.
so I think that we need to see, you know, what the status is with Mark.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely want to carry it, you know, carry on. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right.
I found out, on the way when he took a turn. I
Mhm.
was on the way to Kennedy Airport to pick these two guys up.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't, and I
That was our
arrived-
news when we got off the plane.
Yeah, I
Wow.
arrived pretty. I was pretty shaken up and upset.
Sure.
Driving down the Bell Parkway to the Kennedy Airport, and as soon as I got there, I informed these guys that I got the call, and
Yeah, then he called me. I was in LA. I was on my way to, the way I was pre-rehearsing before we got together for actual full band rehearsals was I have like karaoke versions of all the songs on my iPod. So I'd go into a local rehearsal studio, plug it into the PA, and run the set. So it was essentially I got the guys' tracks, and I got the call from Mike. I was on my way to run the set. I'd been rehearsing for weeks, and it was totally surreal, and I'm just standing in there singing this stuff, going, what's going to happen? Are we even
What
doing
do we
shows
do?
at this
What do we
time?
do?
It was
So I-
strange, but we all just kept moving forward as if the show was going to go on.
well, I called Mark's father, and I said,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I can do this. The band can. He says, Mike, you do it. You go knock him, knock their socks off. That's what Mark would want. I said, are you sure about this? And so I've been speaking with Mr. Alley every day.
Right. Sure. Well, guys, I mean, just absolutely incredible that you guys are here, and people just listening to this can see and understand a little bit what the band has been going through, and they're persevering, and they're here on the ship to bring a couple of shows to everybody. So cannot wait to see you guys perform. I know you guys are intent and have been making Mark proud and your fans proud with the new album as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this aboard the ship. Hopefully we can have a drink or so before the end of the cruise together. The day we get back is my birthday, so it's all good. And hopefully, we need to have a drink. Today's Mike's birthday.
Yeah.
There we go. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, sir.
So, and just to let you know, I think I left it in the other room, however, but it just waited before the interview 3 hours in the merchandise line. It's crazy
I heard
downstairs.
some-
Yes.
some, one of the
And
bands-
I ended up buying a Thunder Steel shirt. Hopefully I haven't lost it, because like I said, I think I just left it next door from the previous interview. But thanks again, guys. Bobby,
All right.
Don, Mike, and Tony. Jay
Thank
Nada,
you.
San Antonio Metal Music Examiner. We'll see you next time.
Thank you,
All right,
everybody.
man. Thanks, bro.